Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? We've all asked ourselves this question at some time or another. Who are we? This big feeling of uncertainty that sits within us. Now, when I was sitting in my room trying to figure out what am I going to write for my icebreaker speech, what am I going to say in front of all these people for my first time speaking up here officially, who am I? And that question just occurs again and again and again. And it hit me where the realization hit me where if we're going to think who are we have to think of who do we come from? What do we come from? And when I was thinking about that, I had this moment of clarity where I thought everything we are today can be attributed to some of the people that have came before us, that have paved the way, that have done things that at least I know I could not have done. So what's in a name? Well, we all at some time or another heard this quote. We've, for the most part, all read Romeo and Juliet, where it says, "What's in a name? A rose by another name, would it be so sweet?" Now, I probably butchered that, but we can blame public education for that. But really, I think there's some truth to that. There's something in a name. Steward. Now, Steward's an Anglo-Norman name, which pretty much means a bunch of people came from a bunch of cold countries and went to Scotland one day. And it means the head of a household, or the manager of a noble's family, which sounds pretty prestigious. I don't know about you, but that seems like a nice gig to just manage someone's house and live a pretty plush life. But that's pretty much the extent to which I know about my last name. That's all there is. Now, why did I write that up there? Well, Musgrove, which means a grove of mice, not exactly the same as Steward, is actually what my last name is supposed to be. You see, my grandfather's father's father was a career criminal, and eventually his past caught up to him in the Great Depression. He was printing a lot of counterfeit currency. The Treasury Department wasn't too happy. So to avoid being thrown in jail, he changed his name to Steward, his mother's maiden name. And this part of history was finished. So, after he changed the name and my grandfather was born, the first Steward, he left. And my grandfather started from nothing. Was a poor, kid in the Memphis slums. And if anyone has ever been to Memphis or seen Memphis, you know that it's bad. Well, imagine it in the 50s and 40s. Children of about 9, he left home at 16 to be a carny. Pretty prestigious, but it was better than anything he had. And from then on, he joined the Army, and was in some of the first group of special forces to ever be made when it was established. He worked his entire life, gave blood, sweat, and tears for his country and for his family to provide them with something he never had. And he did. And came my father, who, in the same respect, grew up very poor in the Army, moved around all the time, never stayed at one place for long, but grew up really disenfranchised. Due to a variety of factors, he had a really tough upbringing. And he did everything he could to give, the kids that he knew have in the future. When he was young, did everything he could to build a better future, to give them something he never had, that his father never had, and the one before him. So through years and years of tireless hard work, he built up the family name as a second generation. Now I'm thinking about this as I'm going over this huge shoes I have to fill, these big expectations I have to live up to. Who am I? Am I self-made men like them? Absolutely not. Who we are is completely indicative of who we come from. Now, I wish I could take the fame of being called, or the glory of being called a self-made man, but I'm not. What I am is the accumulation of 2 generations of hard bloody, terrible work. And I'm sitting here today because of that. Now, my father never went to college, and we did University of Phoenix, and I think we can all say it's not exactly that esteemed of school. And I'll be the first person to ever graduate in my family to ever graduate from college right after high school. Now, something's always come up. They've never had the opportunities. But now I do. So what am I going to do with that? Could go through the motions, could get a college degree like everyone else does. Well, I realized that wasn't what I was going to do. I wasn't going to let their struggles to give me something better be in vain by doing the minimum. So where am I now? I'm graduating the Citadel in 3 years. Unfortunately, having to take a lot of hours, so I think we all know how fun that is here. We have tons of free time. But I'm a member of many clubs, many organizations, which some esteemed, some not. But I'm standing here today, trying to become a better speaker, trying to get some skills where I can actually make something of a family name that's only been around for 3 generations. So today I'm trying to make something of that name. Today I'm trying to give the next generation a leg up. Today I'm a Toastmaster.